Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, where we are in the Baldesion Annex, ready to talk to Kryl, and, well... Sound the bell, school's in. Oh, there you are. Feeling refreshed, I hope? I was about to make my way to the studium, as it happens. I wanted to try and speak with Scholarch Montichaigne, and thank him for coming to our rescue in Marostra. As it turns out, he'd come here to see us following the hearing, only to find that we already departed to Thavnair. Knowing him, he was probably hoping to chew a cud with his former students. Since we're still waiting for Ishiola and the others, I thought now is the perfect time to pay him a visit. Can you join me? When it's settled, the twins will be coming too, assuming Alvino can tear himself away from his new toys. I'll let you rally the troops while I go ahead to Phenomenon. Considering my recent impropriety, perhaps I should avoid showing my face around the studium for a time. That might be for the best. If the others should return, tell them we will not be long. Alize? Heading out for a stroll? Kryl wanted to thank Scholarch Montichaigne. The Scholarch himself was here. In that case, what are you waiting for? I too am eager to see him, though I somewhat dread the thought of visiting the studium. I dare say our notoriety precedes us. Alvino of all people worrying about his reputation. And our alma mater, no less, will wonders never cease. You'll understand soon enough. Off we go! So Alvino was just training here. With his new lifts. It feels like only yesterday that I first walked through these doors. See that sculptured picture above the entrance? That's the mark of Faliak, the scholar, bearer of the waters of knowledge. It's no exaggeration to say that Charlie itself is one enormous shrine to him. That's especially noticeable here in the studium. What? Up there. It is. Phenomenon. While I expect you made note of it before, one can hardly miss it. This is the first time you've been here on official business, correct? While most of the space is taken up by the expansive auditoriums, it also houses numerous laboratories, testing grounds for experimental magic, and a host of administrative offices and so forth. As a center of what would later become the studium, it was established to promote the study of aetherological phenomena, hence the name. Though with aether being a fundamental aspect of nature, its scope expanded to include every conceivable facet of life, and even the universe itself. And then, in the 432nd year of a 6th Astral Era, Phenomenon was decreed complete, and the studium officially opened as a place of learning. With a long and studied history, it is without question the world's leading authority on aetherology, the arcane, the occult, astromancy, and countless other fields, standing proud as Sharlayan's foremost educational institute. You always did enjoy giving the grand tour to new students. Indeed. I've long since lost track of how many times he has recited the same foppish speech, such is his undying love for his old stamping ground. He was in top form back then, youngest to enter the studium, graduated with highest honors in magical arts and aetherology, undisputed champion of a debating chamber. Hold on, you both joined the studium at the same age, yes? And from where I stand, you're equally prodigious scholars. Nice of you to say, but Alphino actually entered half a year before me. Know that I do well enough to graduate with honors, and I am certainly not the studium's most notorious master debater. In all respects, I've ever been in his shadow. If nothing else, just remember that this was where the legend of Alphino Leveilleur began. We should expect everyone to be fully aware of our recent escapades. Hopefully, we'll be somewhat more welcome here than we were at the last stand. I know better than anyone the adoration the student body has for Alphino, and with a bit of luck, it might work to our advantage. Well, there's no time like the present. First things first, let's look for Scholarch Montichaigne. Other faculty tend to frequent their offices, but unfortunately for us, he's fond of wandering wheresoever his whims take him. Let's split up and ask the students if they've seen him. Now, I remember Alice also having a few fans here from my last run through here. Excitable student. That was Alphino Leveilleur, wasn't it? The Alphino Leveilleur. And he's with his sister and Master Baldesion's granddaughter. This can only mean one thing. An event of epoch-shattering proportions fast approaching. Spread the word. Do you know where the Scholarch is? Sorry, you said you're looking for the Scholarch, yes? Knowing him, he could be anywhere. But Miss Aliapo should have a better idea. Ki Aliapo. Are you lost? Wander in off a street, perhaps? Wait, don't tell me. You're a trainee gleaner fresh off a guild ship? I'm right, aren't I? Oh, how silly of me. An orientation is in order. Allow me to bid you a warm welcome to Scholarch's Meet. Let me start with a question. What's the most important thing you'll find in the studium? That's right, books. And what's the second most important? Why, that's simple. Everything else. That's what we deal here in Scholarch's Meet. Whenever the students or tutors find themselves in need of equipment or materials, they come to us. If we don't have it in our stores, we send the cleaners off to find it. Honestly, you wouldn't believe some of the requests we get. Eye of Paisa this, tongue of giant toad that. It's enough to make your hair stand on end, which is possibly what some of our students are trying to accomplish, this being a school of magic and all. As our newest cleaner, you'll have your work cut out for you, but I think you'll find it quite rewarding. I tracked down many miscellaneous knickknacks in my time, but I'm no cleaner. So what you're telling me is you're not a cleaner? Yes, that's exactly what you said, isn't it? And you're looking for a Scholarch. I'm afraid I don't have any of those in stock, but I can... Oh, you mean him? He was here, but no, he's not. I did speak with him shortly before you arrived, though. He said he was on his way to make us meet. Go back the way you came in, and you see it on the opposite side of the entrance. It's a laboratory of sorts, home to many rare and expensive curios, not to mention alarmingly frequent accidents. If you lose your way, just follow the blood-curdling screams. And the time it's taken me to tell you all this, the Scholarch has probably already left. Best of luck finding him. I have a feeling you'll need it. Level-headed student. Yes, the Scholarch was here a short while ago. He offered me advice on my current research project. Though we spoke at length, I don't recall him mentioning where he was planning to go next. When we parted ways, he went down the corridor, perhaps to one of the auditoriums. Unsurprisingly, the Scholarch is not in his office. I did, however, speak with one student who saw him not long ago, so he can't have gone far. Now, the quest marker tells me here. And there he He indeed is.
Ah, I remember you.
I pray we have not caught you at an inopportune moment. We wanted to offer our thanks for your kind words in the forum.
Well, I could hardly let that inquisition go unchallenged. I've always believed that curiosity should be nurtured, not stifled. Thankfully, a majority of my colleagues agreed. A slender majority, aye, but a majority nonetheless.
Had the vote not gone our way, we would be having a very different conversation, if any at all. Though I'd like to think you would have not given up on our cause. I'm told you paid a visit to the annex afterwards.
Yes, that's right. I was hoping to speak with the grandchildren of my dearly departed friends Galuf and Louisoix in a less dour setting. But it seems I just missed you. I still can't believe how much you've grown. If only your grandsires could have seen the way you presented yourselves to the Forum. Why, it fair brought a tear to my own eye. You must have the patience of a saint, putting up with this lot and their antics. Never mind Matoya's prize student.
Sometimes it's difficult.
Luckily, I know a thing or two about managing unruly younglings. If you ever need advice, don't hesitate to ask.
If I may, there is a rather more pressing matter we wish to discuss. What can you tell us of this duty that the Forum must fulfill?
Nothing, I'm afraid. Like all humble servants of the Forum, I am sworn to secrecy. Or rather, I couldn't tell you if I tried. Our duty is of the gravest importance. Furthermore, if the particulars were made public, it would incite widespread panic. As such, those entrusted with this duty have been bound by an enchantment, which prevents us from speaking of such matters without the express permission of the Forum.
How is that even possible?
Pretty radical, but not surprising.
It's been some time since I last gave a lecture. Please, take a seat. We shall begin by reviewing the fundamentals of etherology. The ether, which imbues us with life, can be categorized into three forms. Two are of the incorporeal sort, the soul, and the memory. Can anyone tell me the third?
The corporeal ether.
Yes, very good. This is the form with which the layman is most familiar. Consumed by even the simplest of daily activities, and replenished by the food and drink that sustain us, this form of ether is in constant flux. In contrast, the ether that comprises the soul is rarely subject to dramatic change. The same can be said for memory, as the two are intrinsically linked. Picture the soul as paper, and memories as words written upon it. Now, what would happen if that paper was doused with ink? The same type of ether as comprises the memories.
It would become unreadable.
It would blot out everything that was written.
Precisely. We would be unable to recall the memories, and any activities that depend upon them would be hindered as well. In fact, this exact phenomenon was observed on a vast scale not so long ago. And what might that have been?
The missing memories of the Warriors of Light after the calamity.
The seventh umbral calamity. The people of Eorzea vividly recall Bahamut breaking free of the Lesser Moon and raining hellfire down upon the realm. But no one could seem to remember the events that followed immediately afterwards.
Indeed. To this day, we have yet to determine whether it was an unintended consequence or a deliberate act. The enchantment which binds me and the rest of the Forum is based on a similar principle. And yes, it is a contravention of the Charlian prohibition against the practice of memory manipulation. Only when a new member is inducted and told of our great duty are they subjected to the process. A necessary evil. You have my word that it would never be used to manipulate the populace.
I should hope not. But can this enchantment be dispelled and your memories restored?
If 9/10 of our members give their approval, then the process may be reversed. Then, and only then, would we be able to speak freely to others of our sacred duty. Barring that, we must wait until we return to the ethereal sea. For there we will be purified, the blots upon our souls washed clean. And our memories drift apart and dissolve, rather defeating the purpose, I suppose. But there are those memories that are indelibly etched upon our souls, some believe.
What happens after that?
We are reduced to pure ether, coalesce with that of others, and create souls anew. Alternative schools of thought assert souls remain whole and return to the corporeal world, reborn into another form. Both theories have their proponents. Personally, I consider each equally probable. Well, I think that's enough education for today, now that I've given you some food for thought. Or rather, an entire banquet.
I was thinking, Emmett Selk told us that he and the other Astians specifically look for the souls of their compatriots on the Council of 14, or what it was. And that would suggest souls are indeed reborn whole. They choose the souls that come from the 14 to induct into the Ascians, is what I mean. So that would suggest the reborn theory is at least partially true.
I would remind you that although I'm unable to assist you with certain matters, the resources at my disposal may still be of use to you. I'll arrange for you all to be given the run of Phenomenon. Of course, as associate to our alumni and the Students of Baldesion, this privilege is extended to you as well, my friend.
Thank you, Scholarch.
Oh, and I suggest you speak with Ki Aliapo. She's well known among the artisans of Sharlayan, and her network of contacts may prove useful in your search for knowledge. I wish you all the best in your pursuits, wheresoever they may take you.
That sounded almost like an evil laugh. You have been granted a run of Phenomenon. If you are game, Ki Aliapo would put your artisanry to good use. Yeah, this is the unlock for the Crafter and Gatherer role quests. Some of my earliest memories of Scholarch Montichaigne, actually. He was a close friend of our grandfather. He would come for tea and amaze us with his tricks, much like his demonstration with paper and ink. He's a huge part of why I wanted to enter the studium in the first place. While Scholarch Montichaigne is best known for his role as head of the studium, he is said to be one of the finest mages Sharlayans ever produced. Having seen for myself the ease with which he weaves extraordinarily complex and powerful magics, I have no reason to doubt the claim. Well, that's given me much to mull over. I feel as though we are one step closer to understanding the forum's true motives and the mysteries of life itself, for good measure. It's funny, I came here with the intent of expressing my gratitude, only to leave more indebted than before. I have a feeling his friendship and support will be a great boon to us in days to come. And on that note, let's head back to the annex. Perhaps on the way, you could better acquaint yourself with Ki Aliapo as the scholar suggested, while I share our findings with Raha. No, I deal with Ki in a separate episode, I think. It seems I've done an adequate job of relaying Scholarch Montichaigne's lecture to Raha, given his experience in the field of souls and memories, yet no trouble understanding it. You'd better not let your guard down around Ki. One small favor becomes another and then another, and before you know it, you'll be running to the other side of the world in search of a bottle of wine or some rubbish. Then again, it might make for a welcome change of pace from your usual heroics, and as the Scholarch said, it could also lead to interesting discoveries. Estinian returned not long after we departed for the studium. A shame that he missed the chance to attend our lecture with the Scholarch. Or perhaps not. Having spent most of the time in Thavnair, I've yet to fully grasp the lie of the land here in Sharlayan. Even finding my way to the annex proved a challenge. Welcome back. From what I hear, your trip to the studium proved most educational. While you were away, I received word from our fellow scions. As expected, news of awarding scales was met with much joy. Preparations are now underway to bring the leadership of the Grand Companies of Eorzea and the Eastern Alliance together to determine a way forward. Our friends have asked if we bring the scales in our possession to Limsa Lominsa. So the time has come for us to go on the offensive? It's too early to say for certain, but that does seem to be the way the winds are blowing. I, for one, can think of no reason to oppose such a plan, but let us see what awaits us in Wilbrand. Let's start by getting the scales out of storage. Give me a hand, would you, Estinian? Oh, I didn't realize these crates were so heavy. I shouldn't complain though. Vitra and the alchemists of a great work put their heart and soul into each and every one of these scales, so we must treat them with the utmost care. Are you not coming with us? As much as I would like to escape the forum towards the gates, I have little choice but to stay behind. We're already on thin ice, and if I, in my capacity as our official representative, were found to be consorting with foreign powers, well, you can imagine how that would go. I shall remain here and do my utmost to avoid ruffling any more feathers as I wait word from Master Matoya and our other allies. With luck, we'll soon have good news of our own to share. The tide is about to turn, I can feel it. To Limsa Lominsa. If you learn out of interest, be sure to let me know. In the meantime, I will do what I can to aid our cause, though I fear that will be precious little given the circumstances. Enter the command room in Limsa Lominsa. Alright, let's enter. I was told to expect you. As you may or may not be aware, the Admiral is at present entertaining the Elder Seatsier and the Sultana. 3 of the most powerful women in the world in one room. Do you need a moment to prepare, or shall I show you in? My apologies for calling you away from Charlene at such short notice. On the contrary, we are honored and grateful, and pleasantly surprised to be joined by such esteemed company. It was only right that discussion be conducted in person. We are locked in a war of attrition. Our forces struggle to contain the threat posed by the towers, and it's only a matter of time before we are overwhelmed. Victory can only be claimed through decisive action, and we have taken the initiative to set the wheels in motion. It is reassuring to learn you are all in accord. We are all in accord. But might I ask what your plan entails? It hinges entirely on the warding scales and our ability to utilize their potential to the fullest. During your time in Charlene, the allied nations have been engaged in separate fronts, with no end in sight. To make matters worse, the search and abductions of Kobold, Saigin, Ixal, and Ananta have given rise to an increasing number of primals as well. But your triumph in Verzatan has given us cause to hope once more. The time has come to free ourselves from this menace. And it's you, the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, who have shown us the way. While the bulk of our forces will continue to hold the Telophoroid at bay, we will dispatch our finest to strike at the enemy's heart, Garlemald. These brave few will be the Ilsebard contingent. To think such progress has been made in so short a span. Its objectives are twofold. The first is to provide aid to the people of Garlemald. As previously reported, countless Imperial soldiers and civilians have been tempered, robbed of their free will by serve the Telophoroid's every whim without question. They too are victims. It's our duty to deliver them from their suffering. Not for strategic or political gain, but because it is the right thing to do. I do not ask that we set aside the decades of conflict and conquest, that we simply choose to forgive and forget. I ask only that in choosing to remember, we do not forsake our compassionate morality, for without that, there can be no reconciliation, only death without end. Aye, on that we all agree. Our second objective is the colossal tower that Fenrir and Riyaji observed in the capital. Though its purpose remains unclear, there is reason to believe the smaller spires are merely precursors of what's yet to come. Until the Tower of Zod was toppled, we failed to make any headway, though the same could be said of the Tolotheroi. There's certainly no rush to press further into our lands. I fear that the spire's primary purpose is to divide and keep us occupied, while they work toward our annihilation. This would appear to be substantiated by Ystorah's analysis of a tower's influence on ethereal currents. Based on her observation inside the Tower of Zod, the spires siphon aether from the land, consuming it to maintain their form. However, they draw forth far more than is required for this task alone. The excess of aether remains unaccounted for, but you can be sure it's not being harnessed for our benefit. It wouldn't surprise me in the least if it was being redirected to the larger spire in the capital. There's a logic in that. Regardless, once we have uncovered the truth, we'll bring these schemes crashing down, along with the infernal tower. That's all well and good. But what would you have us do? Assuming it's more than handling over the scales and being on our way. We want you and your scales to join the Isambard contingent. Consider it an official request from both the Grand Company of Eorzea and the Eastern Alliance. Do you accept? Perhaps you should be the one to answer that. For honor and glory! Couldn't have put it better myself. Ystorah, Fenrir and Riyaji have already pledged their support and are on their way to meet the rest of the contingent. They were positive you would come to the same decision as they did. Luckily for all involved, their prediction was correct. Once we have delivered rewarding skills to Alamigo, the contingent will embark on its journey to Isambard. Rauban and Lord Emmerich are overseeing preparations, so I suggest you make yourselves known upon arrival. Pack warm clothing, furs and the like. Without it, the cold will do you in before the Tolotheroi so much as draw steel. As for us, we'll keep the enemy busy while you're gone. They are not the only ones who can create a diversion. Now go, safe in the knowledge Eorzea will be as you left it, or better, upon your return. Good, but I end this episode here and we go to Rauban next episode. Until next time then, I'm Ace and don't get lost.